Hey guys, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for clicking on this video and watching it. I appreciate you. If you're new around here, I'm a full-time reseller. I've been reselling full-time for the last 4.5 years. That's how I make a living. I've sold on multiple platforms. Right now my focus is on Poshmark. Whew. And I've made over $100,000 on the Poshmark platform. And in general, as a reseller, I have sold over $500,000. Is wild to think about in the last 4.5 years, which is again crazy, but there's a market. And if you're watching this video, you're probably wondering how to get started in this market. I want to share some of my tips with you, some of the things that I've seen over the years. The people really, a few basic things can make a big difference in starting on as being a reseller. This is going to focus more on a Poshmark seller, but I will say this could be for any platform. So if you're selling on eBay, if you're selling on Mercari, if you want to do a mixture of both, I don't recommend that. This is for everything. So these are just tips for people who are starting out and they want to resell and make a profit. Maybe it's a side gig. Maybe you want to turn it into your full-time thing like I've done over the years. These will help you start. So the number one tip I have for newbies, new sellers, is to sell what you already have. People are always asking me, Nicole, what do I buy? Like, I'm gonna go to their store, like, what do I buy? I want to resell. I've never listed anything before. Whoa. Take a step back. You have money in your house, I promise. You probably have $1,000 laying around your house right now that you can list and make a profit on. So start there. That's what I did when I first started reselling. I remember the first thing I sold was a protein shake mix. We'd bought in from like a coworker. It was, I think, from an MLM or something. But anyway, I had this lot of protein mix that we never used. It was brand new in the packages. I lotted it up. I sold it for around $100, and then I took that $100 and I reinvested it into more inventory. So that's my tip, is to really start with what you have, to not actually go out and source new items, but to use what you already have. So go through your house and buy. They will also give you a good feel for the platform. So with that being said, when you're trying to learn the platform, it can be very overwhelming. Like, there's all these things you have to do to list, and how does that work, and what does it look like when I have to ship something to someone. If you make a mistake and it's your item that you already had, you're not really out much money, right? Like, you already had that item. You probably would have donated it if you didn't sell it, or it would have just sat in your house and collected dust. So if something happens, something goes wrong, which it probably won't, but let's say worst case scenario, something wrong happens, you're not out much. It's a learning experience, right? And so that is why I really recommend selling items from your closet or from your own house. A, you don't have to reinvest, or you don't have to invest in anything, and B, it's a learning experiment, right? It's a learning experiment. So you learn how to list, you learn how to take photos, you learn how to do everything on items that you already own instead of putting money into it. Now, the next part of this is, once you started to make money, reinvest that money. Don't just spend it on something. Maybe you have a goal that you want to take your kids to Disneyland, or you want to go on a family vacation, or you want to pay for private school, or start a college fund for your kids, or there's so many things. You want to buy a Gucci handbag. I don't know. Think long term here. So take a portion out and pay yourself, but then reinvest as much as you possibly can. Put it in a bank account, open up a separate account, keep that money there, only spend what you're making on building your business instead of throwing the money in your bank account and continuing to reinvest from your own pocket, and or spending the money that you've made and then not being able to buy new things to sell. Does that make sense? So reinvest as much as you can without touching it, because it's going to grow and grow and grow. And I see a lot of people who, they start reselling and they either way overspend. So they're spending their own money that they're making at a job, and they're putting thousands of dollars into this business but not turning a profit, instead of taking the items from your house, selling those items, and then just reinvesting that money instead of taking your own money. It just makes more sense and you can just grow it. And on the opposite end of that, I see the people who spend all the money that they make and then they can't reinvest in their business and they can't grow it. They get stuck with capital issues. Cash flow is everything. So remembering that. So that's my next tip, is to make sure that you're reinvesting just what you're already making and focusing on your numbers. The next tip, which a lot of people will disagree with, but I have something in my eye, it's driving me insane. A lot of people will disagree with this tip. So, hear me out. Focus on one platform at a time. There are so many marketplaces out there. You can do Facebook Marketplace, you can do Poshmark, you can do Mercari, you can do eBay, you can do Kittison, you can do so many platforms. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't spread yourself too thin. One platform at a time. And then once you've mastered that first platform, you're doing really well, add in that second one. Master that second one, add in that third one until you have it like the back of your hand. That way you're not trying to learn everything at once and you're mixing things up, right? Shipping on each platform is a little bit different. How you list things is a little bit different on each platform. So really just focus on that one platform, get really good at it, and then add the next one in. There's so many people that will say you're leaving money on the table by not adding another platform in. Maybe, but at the same time, when you start putting your energy into other platforms, you're taking away the energy from that first platform, and then you're not making as much money on that platform. I have a mentorship group, and I see it time and time again, where people are trying to sell on too many platforms, and they're spreading themselves all over the place. And then they cut it back, and they focus on just one platform, and they end up making more money than when they were spread out too thin. Right? Or they say, hey, I changed and I started selling on eBay in addition to selling on Poshmark. And now my eBay sales are really good, but my Poshmark sales are really bad. Why is that? It's like, well, think about it. You took your energy from that one platform, you moved it to another platform. That platform's doing great, but now that first one's doing really bad because you're not giving it any attention. So that's my third tip, is to make sure that you are not spreading yourself too thin, one platform at a time, and then adding in more platforms once you've kind of mastered that first one, but don't neglect it, right? Baby steps. Next one is this is the two last ones are my biggest tips. And you're going to be like, yeah, of course, Nicole. The first one is to take clear photos. I know you're saying, I know I need to take clear photos. I know you're saying it, but are you doing it? Because when I look at closets, that is the number one thing that I see that's a problem. People are visual shoppers when they're shopping online. They want to know what they're buying. They don't want to read things. They're looking at photos, and that's what they're paying for. So take your time and take clear photos. You do not need fancy equipment, which is another tip I have. But just go ahead and find good natural lighting, put a tack on the wall, maybe a command strip, take a hanger, hang up the item, and take a clear photo. Don't leave a bunch of space on the edges of your photo, right? Make sure that photo is filling up the whole frame, right? Like you see my head is just kind of in the middle and there's all this dead space next to me. When you're taking a product photo, you want this space to be full. You want me to be closer. You want to be able to see the details. So make sure you're taking good photos. And there are so many good photography YouTube videos out there. Just look for product photography and they will give you like at home product photography. There'll be tons of videos with tons of tips, right? You don't have to just look at reseller videos for tips. Look for what you're looking for. Looking for good photo videos. Look for those. They're out there. They'll tell you. With that being said, make sure you're taking lots of photos. Poshmark now allows 16 photos on a listing. Fill them up. I would say a minimum of 8 photos on each listing. There's definitely 8 things you can take a photo of on everything that you're listing, especially if it's used, right? Those up close detailed photos. Photos of the tag, so important. Photos of the care tags, so important. And how you formulate those photos. The first 3 photos show up on Pinterest. So if you're sharing your items to Pinterest, remember those first 3 photos are so important. Make sure those photos are clear. That's what people are looking for. I'm getting a little more in depth than I need to here. This is a newbie tip thing, I know. The next tip is to max out your titles. This is the second biggest issue I see when I'm looking at people's closets, is that you're not filling up the whole title. Poshmark gives you all of this space, all of these characters, eBay, Mercari, everything. Those keywords need to be in there. And if you struggle with keywords, go to Pinterest, look up style guides, and they will show you all of your different styles, and you can use those keywords. You can also use a site called titlebuilder.com. They will help you find keywords. You can use things like Google. Type in the brand and then jeans, and then look at the drop down. What kind of style names are popping up, right? Like, there's so many ways to learn style names and keywords, and you need to use those because that's how people are going to find your items, right? So first, your title is so important because without a good title, no one can find your items. They can't find them. The search results won't happen. And then secondly, once your items are found, they need those good, clear photos so that people will buy them and they'll pick your items over everyone else's in the sea of items that are listed online. So, those are my 5 big tips. So the first one being sell items that you already own. The second one is to reinvest. Reinvest the money once you started to make it. The third one is to focus on one platform. Don't spread yourself too thin. Learn that one platform in and out and then move on to the next. The fourth one is those good, clear photos. They're so important. Do some research, learn how to take clear photos and max them out. And then the last one is to max out your titles. This is so important. Your titles are everything in search. Max them out. Make sure you're using as many keywords as you can. Bonus tip. Bonus tip here is that there are no secrets. There's no secrets. You don't need fancy equipment. You don't need anything but items that people want to buy and a photo and a good title. If you have an iPhone or I guess any sort of smartphone, which we all have, these little mini computers, you can be successful selling on these platforms. You can do everything from your phone at this point. There's no secrets. When I first started out, I say the first $100,000 that I sold was all from a tack on the wall, or there was also floor photos where I laid the items on the floor and took them in my kitchen. At nighttime, my lighting was awful, but it still worked because that's what I could do. And all I did was just list as much as I could, and I kept my costs low, and it worked, right? Like, there's no secrets to this, guys. List items that people want at a competitive price, and they will sell with good photos and a good title and good information about them. That's all there is to it. A lot of people will try and tell you there's tons of secrets and tips and tricks and all of the magic, but the magic is just you putting in the work of photographing and listing your items and putting them on the internet and pushing yourself forward and learning what brands sell. So that's the number one thing I can tell you. You don't need fancy equipment. You don't need fancy things. You just need items that people want. You need items that people are looking for, and you need to list them at a good price point. If you do that, they'll sell and you'll be okay and things will work out. So I hope this video helped you guys. If you are new to the reselling world, welcome. We are pretty friendly. If you are just opening up your Poshmark closet, make sure you leave a comment down below with a link. I would love to go check it out. I would love to share some things from your closet, give you a little bit of a boost. I'm sure many other people who are watching this video would also love that. So leave a comment with your closet name or your store on eBay or whatever it is, wherever you're selling. Leave a comment so we can go check it out. And I will be back with another video soon. Thanks for watching, you guys. I appreciate you. I hope this video adds some value to your life. And it would mean the world if you would give it a big thumbs up. Okay, bye. Ending YouTube videos is so awkward. Can I just say that? It really is. Okay, bye. Bye.